Hey, this is The Mix. We're about to go inside Regina Spektor's tour bus and interview her. Let's go.
This is how it works. It feels a little worse than when we drove our hearse right through that screaming crowd, while laughing up a storm until we were just bone, until it got so warm that none of us could sleep.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to The Mix. We are probably one of the nicest tour buses I've been on in some time with Regina Spektor. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Now, we were just having a little discussion about your phone situation. And I was saying, I'm surprised you don't have an iPhone yet. Everybody has an iPhone who's in this kind of business.
I think I'm the last person. I was one of the last people to get a cell phone.
Really? When did you first get a cell phone?
I have problems telling like time, like years time. Not like clocks, thank God. But I just know that everybody had one and then finally I had to have one.
What pushed you over the edge to get the cell phone?
Just the fact that I would be somewhere, like especially like being in New York and having friends and trying to go to shows and stuff, and I'd be somewhere near somebody's apartment building, and I'd have to find a payphone and call them, and if they weren't there, I have to leave a message and say, okay, I'll be near this payphone in 10 minutes, and then I was like, that's it.
What a pain.
Yeah.
What a pain, what a pain. So you're performing at Lollapalooza, 2007 here in Chicago.
I love Chicago.
Do you really?
Yeah.
What do you like about it?
Well, it's really, I don't know, it's really like, New Yorkers, we're sort of, we love New York.
Yeah.
But it's got this great feel of culture, and it's very, very cosmopolitan. But it's like so much more. I love the Great Lake. I love the water being right there, but it has a completely different feel to it than the ocean.
Right.
It's so
Absolutely.
Still, and it's really clean here.
It is a clean city. Yes, I'm actually from Chicago. So.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Oh, and I have one of my most favorite people that lives here, which is this elderly lady that she's from Russia too, like me.
Oh, okay.
And she helped me be born when I was little. Like
really?
Yeah, and I would have probably been dead because I was like a trouble birth. I was like an emergency cesarean and stuff like that.
And she lives here in the city?
Yeah.
Do you still keep in touch with her?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, what's that relationship like? It's got to be so neat for her to see you grow up and become what you've become.
I know. She was just like, I want to go see you in the park, but it's gonna be too hard. But she's like 86.
Right. Yeah.
I'm like, of course. Like, don't budge from your apartment. But she's really amazing, and going to her apartment is like going back in time because she's still so connected. She's a World War II veteran, and
right.
She just survived a lot, and all the photographs, and she reminds me a lot of my grandma that passed away, so it's
that's amazing.
It's really cool.
You came over here when you were about 9 from the Soviet Union, is that right?
9.5.
Do you ever, we're sitting in this tour bus now, you're performing to hundreds of thousands of people, do you ever just sit back and think like, wow, I mean that when you were 8 years old in the Soviet Union, how could you imagine ever this happening?
I think about that stuff all the time, and then I have to stop myself because otherwise I wouldn't actually do anything. I would just sit there being completely overwhelmed and being like, how is this my life? This is really, and I think, if you get to do what you love, you become really, really hyper aware of the people that don't get to do what they love, and you just, like, you get this feeling like you just want to like free everybody, and because it's hard. It's sort of like, it's wonderful in the fact that you're so like grateful for yourself, but then you can't really do that much for a lot of people that like their job is just their job,
right? Or
they're not having fun, or they just are bogged down with responsibility.
How does your music help accomplish that? What you want to do? What you just told me.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if it does. I mean, I'm really like, some of my happiest times, besides actually doing it, like playing or writing or recording, is like when I hear from different people and they say, oh, this like made me more brave, or this made me, care less about what people think about me, or like, so it is in a way, I guess it can, if I do what I'm trying to do, then it can be useful, to people, and so that's good.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to figure out how to do that more, how to be more useful and help. And so far, I think in our world it's very hard to know. There's so many things that make us feel like we have no control. Like, we want peace, but we're at war, and we want people to be free to do what they love, but there's this reality of economy and struggle, and people have to earn money, and we want people to be healthy, but there's all these chemicals and unhealthy food and all this stuff. It's really hard to actually know what to do. So I think the key is just to not be so overwhelmed that you just don't do anything and you just sit by. So you just do what is natural to you and hope that it inspires other people to do what's natural to them.
Very good answer. Very good answer. I want to talk about your sound a little bit, though. When I listen to your music, and I think of you performing at a huge festival like this, it doesn't seem to fit. Like,
I'm scared.
I think of you
terrified.
I think of you in like a small orchestra hall, people sitting down. Like, not that that's bad, but just like really taking it in. Getting on a big, huge stage like that with so many people. How can you do that?
I don't know.
Have you done it? Have you performed to a big audience like this before?
Yeah, I have. I mean, I am really intimidated because I've had different experiences. Like, sometimes I feel like I could hear myself really well, and the crowd is there with me, and it's like the best thing in the world. And sometimes it's like a struggle through every part of it. Like,
right.
I can't hear myself, and some huge metal band next door is like all I hear is them.
Yeah.
And it's. Basically, I think this is how because I used to be a perfectionist, and I'm still struggling with not being a perfectionist. I think it's a bad thing to be one, but like, I think a performance is it has a beginning and an end, and it frames something. So a perfect show in my mind is when all the songs go well and my voice doesn't crack, and I could do all this, but it doesn't.
You do so much with your voice and your music. That was my other part of that. It was like, it's got to be hard live.
Yeah, no, it's what it's a complete obstacle course in a lot of ways. I have to hit that, then run over there. It's like one of those like tag team marathon things. But I think that even in a show where you struggle over obstacles and you make a mistake, and it's still, that is reflecting of life, and the people that are there with you, that's part of the performance, because it's not like in life everything goes smoothly. So I think one of the things about a live show is just the fact that you are there with no safety net, and you are taking risks in front of people, and just by doing that, you're sort of saying, with like, it's like the subliminal message of it all. It's like, it doesn't matter. If I completely, which I hope I don't, but if I completely mess up Lollapalooza and I completely suck, I still will be okay. I'll go home to New York and I'll be bummed out about it, but I still will write songs. My friends will still, things, and it's kind of, I think that's also part of the performance, to learn that and to convey that to people.
Right, and you don't have to worry about stuff. You've done very well with critics. So, do you read reviews when people write about you?
Sometimes I do, and I think sometimes I'm glad. Like, there are some reviews that I read, and just like with any job, there are some critics that are really great. They're really insightful, and they have, and some people, it's just when they write, it's just a stab at their great American novel, and it starts out with it was a rainy night, and they care less about you and more about.
I've read plenty of those,
more about their own agenda, and they want to sound smart, or they want to be bitter and sarcastic, and it's you can only read that if you're gonna accept the fact that you either don't really take in the good that much and don't take in the bad, or take in the good and take in the bad. But I don't know, you can't be too selective, right? Because it's not fair. Just the good and not the bad,
I loved you first.
What's going on there? The mannequins and the black and the white and the monochromatic tones and all that.
Well, yeah, that's cool. Well, my favorite part of the whole video though was throwing the pigment powders in the end. And that comes from an Indian pigment powder throwing like ritual, and they have them in India. It's festivals, and they throw these colors and
wow.
like dance, and it's really spiritual and wonderful. And
Have
so
you been to India?
No, I
Oh, no,
really
you
want to
haven't.
go.
Oh, okay.
That's Mark Webb who directed it. He'd seen a movie that had that in it, and he got the idea to do that, and I was like, yeah, hell yeah. But the thing is, once you start throwing them, that's it. You know, that's your one shot because you can't take them off. As a matter of fact, like, it took me hours to wash it off. I thought I was
Really?
going to be going to because I was flying to England the next morning to play shows, and one of my biggest regrets still is that I did not go through customs absolutely green, because it didn't enter my mind that I should do that till later, until I washed, because I couldn't wash it off. Like, I took a shower and all the colors mixed up into this awesome green, and I looked like, you know, Mystique?
Yeah, right, absolutely.
I looked like her, you know, except green, like very, very green. And I wish I would have just braved it and just put on regular clothes and shown my passport and just tried to get into the country green.
Oh man, I don't know if you probably still be waiting there right now, right? And so I don't.
Quarantined or something.
You're leaving Lollapalooza right after your show. Is there any band here that you really wanted to see?
So many. There's so many bands that I want to see. There's so many musicians here that that I never got to like see like live yet, or some that I've seen but that I've never seen at a festival. And I've definitely never seen Pearl Jam, and I really would love to see Patti Smith. I've seen her in New York and she's a huge inspiration.
Yeah.
I really want to see the Yeah Yeah Yeahs, and there's so many. I've never seen them live, and there's so many bands that I want to see basically, but I'm not going to get to see anything because I'm going to have to go right to Baltimore. But you know, but then I can't be too bummed out because I'm playing another festival.
Yeah, there you go. We're going to practice here and then you get perfected.
Right,
in Baltimore,
this will
right?
just be my practice run.
To backtrack a little bit, when you were growing up in the Soviet Union, what kind of music were you listening to as a little kid?
Mainly the things that I grew up listening to was classical music, because my mom was a classical music professor in a conservatory, and the Beatles and Queen, which was my dad's side of his, you know, his taste, and he got like, because they weren't, you couldn't really get LPs legally, and it wasn't allowed in Soviet Russia, so he had all these mixtapes that he and a bunch of people
Wow,
and
like an
friends
underground
would
movement of music.
Yeah,
Well, that's really cool.
Yeah, and it always existed there. But I mean, Russians were really like, it's kind of for all the problems that poor people and that poor country has had to endure. Its spirit of the, you know, has always been really strong in the arts, and you know, there's huge contributions of classical art, that obviously classical music and painting and literature, but also people always there was always a strong underground and a strong opposition, and people got tapes, and people got, you know, would translate books themselves with making mistakes, but there was a desire to be free, you know.
I bet you're popular over there.
I have never been back yet.
You
actually.
haven't been
No,
back yet?
I've never been.
Any time will we see you performing there, you think? Maybe in Moscow?
I hope so. I think that I'm, you know, just like any place that you leave as a child, you know how like things in your mind as a child are they're just very special, and then you know, if you go back to a house that you've last seen when you were 8 years old, it's going to be different. And I think in a lot of ways I'm sort of scared of that, because everything was big and the trees seemed like huge, and now I'm afraid I'll go there and, you know, the tree in front of my house was like this little, you know, scrawny tree, and I'll just be really sad too. I'm worried that I won't be able to retain the old images,
the memories.
and I'll just replace them. If I knew for sure, somebody could guarantee like you'll have a before and after.
Well, that's the fun of that. The part is to experience the change, right?
I know, and I'm a little bit intimidated, but I really want to go, and so hopefully I will at the right time, you know.
All right, well, someday I hope it happens, and I'm excited to see you here perform. So
Thank you.
I'm wishing you the best of luck.
I'll try.
Thank you, Regina Spektor. And this is The Mix.
I just want